In this tutorial we're going to start looking at interactive mixing. So we've got an exercise level here, which if I start up you can hear it's quite a noisy environment. Plus we've got some dialogue. Now we need to be able to hear this mission dialogue very clearly, obviously, for the player to know what to do. So what we want to do is duck out all the rest of the sounds in the environment momentarily while the dialogue's going on, and we can do that using sound modes. So sound modes are basically mixer settings, and they control the volume, and they can also apply some EQ to sound classes. Now you can think of sound classes as being like your mixer groups. So you might have different kinds of sounds coming through different groups. So for instance, ambient, dialogue, music, and you can control the relative volumes of those things. So if we bring the volume back up of this environment again for a minute. I'm going to open the console and try out a few sound modes so you can see what they do. Now there's a couple of different consoles. This smaller one here I'm opening, I've got a UK keyboard, so I'm using the tab key, or the full console I'm using the ampersand key, the little at sign on your keyboard. So if I'm in this area and I choose a console command of set sound mode, you can see it automatically starts to auto-complete what I'm typing, so I just press tab and it will finish putting that in for me. And if you've installed the game audio tutorial level, you'll have a couple of extra sound modes, such as this one, GAT music only, and this essentially mutes everything apart from those sounds that are designated as part of the music sound class. So there I went back to the default. And now we've just got the sound effects. Okay, so essentially those are mixer states. Now, in this instance we've got a Kismet system that is loading up the level, a slight delay, and then the dialogue starts. So as that dialogue starts, what we want to do is set a sound mode, and that sound mode is going to attenuate or bring down in volume all of the sound effects and the music so that we can hear the dialogue more clearly. So first of all we want to check what's actually in our level. So you can see that most of the sounds are coming from these ambient sound simples. Now anything played back through an ambient sound simple is automatically designated as part of the ambient sound class. So ambient sound simples, ambient sound simple non-loops, ambient sound simple togglables, they're all ambients. Let's just check this one, because this is playing back a sound cue, and sound cues you need to designate yourself as to what sound class they belong to. Here if we have a look under the custom 1 heading, we can see it's actually already in the ambient sound class. If we wanted to change one of these, we just right click on a sound cue, and when it's working, and we go to sound classes and we can add them here. Okay, so if we have a look in the sounds folder, we can see the sound classes and modes package, which is where all this is dealt with. If we open up any of the sound classes, what we'll get is this sound class tree, and it uses a parent and child structure. So if I want to apply some mixer settings, obviously I don't want to have to go around and designate specific volumes for each of these 20 or 30 different classes. It would just be time consuming. So what I could say instead is apply a setting to the sound effects class and all its children. So that will automatically apply the same settings to all of these. If we have a look in the sound modes, you can see that a bit more clearly. So for example, we opened the sound effects only. This is what it does. It says using this voice, which is a parent in the sound class tree, and we're going to apply it to all children. We're going to adjust the volume to 0, so in other words it's going to mute all that, and we're going to do the same to anything that's designated as belonging to the music sound class and all of its children. So having a look here back in the sound class editor, you can see the effect that would have is anything under the music parent and anything under the sound effects parent is going to be muted when that sound mode is called. So that's essentially what we want to do here. So let's just build our own for illustration. So we've got a new sound mode, and we'll call it tutorial test. And there it is. We'll double click. Okay, and what we want to do is we'll choose the ambient sound class. Now the ambience doesn't actually have any children, it is a child within the tree, so we don't need to bother ticking this box, but we do need to set it to come down in volume. And then we'll add another one which will apply to the music, and music is a parent, so just in case any of the music's designated as being underneath that, we'll tick apply to all children as well, and we'll give that a volume adjuster there. Now I'm going to switch this sound mode on and off manually within Kismet, but if you knew you wanted it to last a certain amount of time, you could enter something into this duration, and you can also designate how long it takes to start or stop to take effect, if you like. A duration of -1 means that it will just stay on that sound mode until it's switched off. Okay, so save that. Now what you'll notice is that when you create a new sound mode, you'll have to often close down UDK and restart it before it actually takes effect. So we'll just pause for a moment while we do that. And we're back. So we've got our tutorial test sound mode selected in the content browser, and then we can open up the Kismet system and insert that into the set sound mode. So that is going to apply, and when the foreman has finished speaking, we're going to stop it. Okay, let's try that out. So you can hear that the sound effects and the dialogue was then ducked out a little so that we could actually hear, the sound effects and the music was ducked down so we could hear the dialogue more clearly, which is important in this case because if you pick the wrong button, then you die. So there's an example of ducking and starting to get us to use the sound classes, sound modes. You can make your own sound classes, and we'll be looking at this again in the next tutorial.